We finally kicked off the Bengals season, and my, oh my, what did we witness today? I'll ask Jim Breech and Rodney Heath about it. Plus,
start today and definitely something to continue building.
Holy runs, what got into the Reds Sunday in an urgent time while the output in St. Louis could be just what the team needs. And FC Cincinnati didn't celebrate a win this weekend, but it wasn't all bad. We talk about it with Laurel Pfahler.
From WCPO 9 Sports, this is Sports of All Sorts.
What up? Welcome to Sports of All Sorts. I'm Reggie Wilson. What a long road back to NFL Sunday. We finally made it. Week 1 brought a new QB1 for the Bengals, and we'll talk about his performance in the home opener in a bit. But first, let's get started with a look back at this week in sports. Big weekend in the Bluegrass State. High school football returned across Kentucky after months of waiting and uncertainty, and that meant plenty of action for our NKY schools Friday night. I got a chance to roam the sidelines for Simon Kenton's win over Highlands, and head coach Jeff Marksberry says he finally got a chance to breathe a bit.
I've had a lot on my plate for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and I smiled. They made me smile tonight. I got in front of them, and the first thing that happened was I cracked a smile. And it feels so good. I'm so happy for our team, so happy for our coaches.
And several college football conferences have already decided to move the season to the spring, including Thomas More in Northern Kentucky. So what does a football schedule look like? Thomas More announced theirs this week. They will be playing all their games on Friday nights and opening the season on February 19th. It's a 7-game regular season, and the playoffs will last 4 weeks. And earlier this year, the Cincinnati Cyclones decided to create a Junior Cyclones program, essentially a travel hockey team for young players connected with the organization. Earlier this week, the junior players got their jerseys. One of the players told us he loves the jerseys and hockey and the hair that comes with the game.
It's definitely probably the coolest jersey I've had yet. Love the design, just like the actual Cyclones jerseys. You work hard, get stronger, get faster. Obviously, long hair, best style. I've had my hair long for, I would say, 3 years. I've been trying to have it long. You gotta have the flow.
I heard that, little man. Let's get to the top story of the day, though. Bengals hosting the Chargers in the opener. Players lock arms in solidarity for Lift Every Voice and Sing before the game. First quarter. Welcome to the NFL, Joe Burrow. Look at the wheels on the Rook for this 23-yard scamper to the end zone for his first career NFL touchdown. You want to keep that ball, okay? Bengals lead 7-0. Let's go to the fourth. Orange and black up 7. Joshua Kelly gets in on a 5-yard touchdown run, and the game is tied. And down 3 now. After a rare Mixon fumble leads to points, Joe trying to answer, but no. Rookie mistake with that shovel pass is picked off by Melvin Ingram, but it's all good. Near the end of the game, Burrow working the 2-minute drill to perfection. Hits A.J. Green for the touchdown, right? No. Green called for a push-off. Joe can't believe it. Bengals have to settle for a field goal. Cool, right? Bullock, he'll make the field goal. We'll go to OT. Joe will become a legend, right? Wrong. Randy Bullock misses a chip shot. He comes up lane. Joe is like, bro, that's so lame. Bengals lose in heartbreaking fashion, 16-13. Back with me for another Bengals season is Jim Breech, Bengals all-time leading scorer, and former Bengals cornerback Rodney Heath. Fellas, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, man.
Doing great, Reg.
Good. All right, so we all wanted to know, how will Joe Burrow look? How did you guys think he looked today?
Well, I thought he actually, he showed how tough he can be, because he was getting hit a lot, and he still stayed in there, and he made some things happen. Got on the run a couple of times, got out the pocket. So, for me, for his first actual game, not even preseason, I gave him, a C. But I still he showed resiliency.
What about you, Jim?
I thought he played really well. Particularly second half, they let him open it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes, but those last 2 drives were pretty special.
Yeah.
That's really, what Bengals fans were hoping for when he got drafted, to see that special stuff that he had at LSU come into play with the Bengals. He made a couple mistakes, though. What did you think about some of the rookie errors that he made?
You mean the flip?
Yes,
that
the
reminded me of
flip.
that Andy Dalton flip he did where he broke his thumb in 2015. But it's just, you can't have it when you're in field goal range in a game like that.
Yeah.
Just trying to make a play, though.
I mean, same. I would say even with some of the the lateral, a couple plays, he's just trying to make a play. And like you said, Jim, I mean, it's the NFL, and you have to protect the ball. And I think he's, learning experience for him. I mean, very great talent. So I'm looking forward to see how he progress.
And what do you guys think about the defense? We'll start with you, Rodney, because that's your expertise. Jesse Bates looked really good today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he definitely did. I mean, some of those shots he had, I mean, the one, I'm glad that they kind of waved it off, or it was like both guys with the hit. I mean, Jesse did a great job. I also thought, at linebacker, I think it was, who was it, Josh
Bynes.
Bynes? Yeah, played well. He played fast to the ball, so that was real good, especially with that defensive coordinator. He wants everybody to get up in front and challenge, and that looked good.
Jim, what did you think about Randy Bullock? He was money on his first 2 field goals, and then that last one, it looked like he came up lame, like he hurt himself, but I don't know if he was really hurt or was he just embarrassed?
No, you saw the ball flew. He either pulled probably tore a calf muscle.
Yikes.
Or he cramped. And in either case, it's almost impossible. He pushed off, so as soon as he pushed, that thing tore or it cramped, he's got nothing.
Yikes. How tough
And then
is
it
that?
happened.
And how tough is that after, Burrow seemingly brings them down and gets them in position? 31-yard field goal, you think it's a gimme. We're going to go to overtime. How just disheartening is that after seeing the special magic that Joe can bring?
For the kicker, for Randy,
Yeah.
he's sick. As a kicker, that's what you do to help the team. When something like that happens, you don't sleep that night.
Wow. What do you think, Rodney?
I mean, I would agree with that one. I mean, you only want to help your team win. And when something happens like that, whether it's a game winner or a tie, anything of that nature, that's what your job is. And it's hard to deal with when something happens like that. That's like getting beat as a cornerback, getting beat on a pass for a touchdown. So, it's tough. Might even be more tougher as a kicker.
What do you all think about the offensive line today? It was kind of rough. Burrow took his licks. He took some hard hits out there, but he kept getting back up. But the Chargers' defensive line was after him today.
Yes, they were. I saw William. I was going to talk about the matchup with him and Bosa.
Mm-hmm.
That was welcome to the NFL.
Right.
But, yeah, they got to protect him better.
Yeah, they particularly on the right side, they struggled. But it's interesting. In crunch time, they actually held up pretty well and had 2 great drives.
Yeah, Burrow looked good in that no huddle offense. Do you think that maybe that's something Zach Taylor will try to incorporate a little bit more often, is getting them in the no huddle and where he's not thinking so much?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, LSU is about tempo. And that type of tempo he's used to. I mean, getting the ball out and controlling it, how he can control the game. I think anytime you get tempo going for it, that's a plus for Joe. And I think they can do that whenever they want, whether it's a 2-minute or in the middle of a game.
And
he didn't seem to have any problem in the 2-minute. They just went to the line and went. That's pretty impressive if you think about it.
And so today was the return for A.J. Green. How did he look to you guys? Was it a little rust there, you think?
Well, I mean, I thought it was a rust, but I think it was more so them giving him only so many snaps too. I mean, coming off an injury, you want to make sure he's there for the long haul. And honestly, when you look at their roster, they have some receivers that can step in. They're not AJ, but they still can go and play. So they're just being precaution.
I thought he played pretty well. Wide open down the middle. That was a tough one to miss.
Yeah.
So he'll be fine.
They just got to work on that chemistry, Jim. What did you think of the other weapons for him? We didn't see much of T. Higgins today.
No, we didn't. It was interesting. Mike Thomas played quite a bit.
He did.
Yeah, because I think he's going to be fine. He throws a great ball. He throws it to places where these guys can catch it.
Yes, but that's. Oh, go ahead.
You can go ahead, Rodney.
I was just going to say, especially with this being their first actual live game, you're seeing that no four preseason games. You can see that they won't be in sync as much in the game, and over the next couple of weeks, hopefully you see that starting gel a lot better.
All right, so we saw how bad Cleveland was today. That's who the Bengals have up next. I know this one stings, but you got a good opportunity to beat a team that also looked a little beat down today. What do you think of their chances for next week?
I think they have going up there, I think they have a chance. I think defensively they showed that they can be aggressive. I would like for them to get a running game going more with Mixon, and that'll help to keep the pressure off of Joe Burrow and bring AJ along more. I think they're the better team.
I think Baltimore might be pretty good.
Oh yeah.
So we'll have to see.
All right, Jim, Rodney, well, I really appreciate you guys taking the time. Let's do it again next week.
Hey, one more thing before you go. Can I give congratulations Princeton Vikings for the win over Coleraine this past week. That was a great win for those guys.
Yeah, big time. Coach Daniels said that was the first time a black head coach had beat Coleraine, so congrats to him.
Shout out to him.
Awesome.
See you guys.
See you guys. All right, so I want to hear from you. Let's all rush to judgment. After today's performance, how many wins do you think Burrow leads the Bengals to this season? Tweet me at Reggie Wilson TV and make sure to use the hashtag SOAS. And the Reds haven't been scoring a lot of runs lately, but that changed today. Coming up, why the usually mild-mannered David Bell was giddy leaving St. Louis.
Probably the best night of sleep I've ever had in 2020 from the worst news. Some of the worst news I'll ever get.
And coming up tonight on In Depth with Graham Benzinger, Dak Prescott talks about what's been a tough summer for him personally. I'll ask Graham about it later in the show. Not the best Reds news. Sonny Gray goes on the IL with a strained back. The team trying to win the series against the Cardinals today, first inning. Gets off to a good start. Brian Goodwin scoots one over the wall for his first home run as a Red. Game tied at 1. Reds get 3 in the 7th to take the lead, and Gino is ready to go on a Sunday stroll in the 8th. Bye-bye baseball. Solo shot, 13th this season for Suarez, puts the Reds up 8-5. And then just for good measure, the Punisher, Aristides Aquino, is up in the 9th, ready to punish, of course. 2-run home run, his first this season. Can you believe that? Reds win 10-5, still 2.5 games back from the second spot in the division. 4-game series against Pittsburgh up next.
I tell you, that was one of my favorite games I've been a part of, really. I mean, that game could have gone the other direction, and just, so many guys on this team really stepped up and came back and got a really important comeback win.
Let's go back to Saturday. FC Cincinnati still in search of a non-bubble win, taking on New York City FC. 74th minute, FCC down 2-0, but let's draw on the positives. Brandon Vasquez playing ping pong for the goal. It's the first goal scored for FC since leaving Orlando in July. That's 557 scoreless minutes, but it's not enough. Orange and Blue takes the L 2-1.
It's bittersweet, it's very frustrating. A lot of minutes without scoring, which is what we need. So I'm happy to break that, but we definitely need more goals coming.
Joining me right now is WCPO's FC Cincinnati writer Laurel Pfahler. Laurel, thanks for hanging out.
No problem. I'm glad to be on here.
So you called it backwards progress, but the long scoreless drought is over. Is this a step in the right direction?
Yeah, I mean, they needed a goal so bad. I mean, even just for confidence. And I called it backward progress because they really need a win too, and they didn't get the win. So, we saw some changes in the second half that helped them get that goal. I think that really just mentally helped the team, but they mentally need a win as well.
Laurel Jaap Stam has gotten a chance to get adjusted more as head coach. How is he putting his stamp on this club?
Well, I think his first focus was fixing the defense, and we have seen 5 clean sheets, which is the same amount that they got all of last year. So that's definitely an improvement. The thing that he needs to see now is just getting that offense going. And the problem yesterday, he tried pushing the guys forward more, and you saw the midfielders and the strikers pressing a little more, and they were getting some good chances early on. But the defense has this mindset now that they need to sit back, and they're having trouble, I think, with the idea of moving forward. And so that creates this huge gap between the defense and the midfield. And New York last night especially just took advantage of that space, and that they ended up with 14 shots in the first half, a goal before halftime, and then scored early again in the second half. So I think Jaap definitely is seeing what he wants in terms of just his setup. He likes having that stability in the back with the 5 guys on the back line, but he needs to see them also moving forward. So that's the next thing, I think, to really unlock the offense, is just getting everyone on the same page, moving forward at the same time.
FC Cincinnati is still in search of that first win of the season out of Orlando. When can you see it happening for them?
I mean, it's hard to tell with the schedule coming up. They have some tough games. They're going to be on the road 2 of the next 3 back at Red Bull Arena. They do have a win over the Red Bulls, who they face next, on Saturday. So, it'd be nice to see a result again out of that game. It's possible. The trouble is now they're a little shorthanded. Adrien Ragotin decided to return to his family in France. He was feeling pretty homesick, and I think he just hadn't really adjusted well to being so far away from his daughter, and I think it's a daughter, his child. And so he's gone. Yuya Kubo and Jurgen Lacati, I think that's going to be a good pairing up front. But they've got Mathieu Deplan is going to be out on Saturday because he picked up his 5th yellow card, so he's suspended for a game. They've got a few injuries, and so it's hard to tell. Just they're going to have to keep adjusting that lineup, and it's hard to keep switching things around and building the chemistry.
Laurel, as always, we appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
I have a really cool job, and my next guest may have an even more cool job than me. Coming up, I catch up with Graham Benzinger ahead of his 11th season of In Depth. Welcome back. In Depth with Graham Benzinger travels the world getting exclusive access to some of the biggest names. And the show kicks off its 11th season tonight after Sports of All Sorts. Joining me to talk about it is the man himself, Graham. You usually travel across the world for these interviews, spending time with all of these interesting personalities. How's the pandemic affected what you do?
I was super concerned, understandably, just from a business perspective, because, generally we're with the person we're profiling in their home, we're with them in person. COVID, nobody's supposed to be together. And so I wasn't really sure initially how we were going to be able to handle that. We did a couple Zoom tapings, but then I think we were lucky that we recognized if we did whatever we could to take appropriate safety precautions, that was going to, one, protect everybody, but 2, help us in getting that in-person access that we were accustomed to. So we secured COVID tests. I require myself and everybody on our team to test negative for COVID twice in the 2 days leading up to a taping. And since we've been doing that over the past couple months, that's helped in allowing us to continue to get in-person taping. So that's made a big difference on our end.
Tonight's episode features Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, and the interview made national headlines this week on the topic of mental health. What did you learn about Dak, and what can we expect to see tonight?
It was a really interesting taping, covered some tough subject matter. He opens up for the first time about his brother committing suicide this offseason. So that made for both gut-wrenching and fascinating conversation. And then in addition to that, we got out of the interview chair and he kind of gave us a peek behind the curtains into what his life is like now. So he has this renovated 7-acre property in Dallas. We went fishing with him. He built a 50-yard football field in his backyard during COVID because didn't have a place to practice. So why not? And then he took me out on ATVs and we went around the property. So it was really interesting, fun, sad, all of the above taping. And that's our season debut episode this week.
Graham, we'll be watching tonight. Thanks so much for taking the time and have a great 11th season.
Thanks for doing this. And again, so appreciate all the support you give us.
All right, we'll be right back to wrap up the show. Well, it's been real fun, but we gotta go. Thanks to all my guests, and thank you for watching. Have a good night and a very blessed week.